Joining us from the Oklahoma Department of Wildlife Conservation is Mark Howery. Well, Mark, as we enter the cooler part of the year, I feel like we need to start thinking about how we can take care of wildlife during the winter, and I wanted to focus on birds. What are some things we could do for birds during the winter months?
Well, birds, like all wildlife, need three basic things in the winter, the same things that they need in the summer, which is shelter, particularly from the elements, a reliable source of water, and then also food, especially high energy food.
Okay, what types of shelter might we give them in the winter time?
Well, evergreen trees and shrubs, broadleaves like magnolias, hollies, cherry laurels are all good. Also junipers are great cover. They're dense, evergreen, just good roosting cover when at night, and then also when the weather's really cold.
Protects them against those cold winds.
Yes.
Now, when we're looking at food in the winter, we want to focus on energy, right?
Yes,
okay.
yes. Birds have to eat between a third and a half of their body weight each day to maintain themselves in the winter. So they really gravitate towards high energy foods or high oil foods.
Okay.
For the insect and fruit eating birds, suet is a fantastic winter food. It's got lots of fat and it's also some protein in it. For the seed eating birds, the high energy seeds are black oil sunflower, Niger or thistle seed, safflower, and then also some of the nuts like peanuts.
Okay.
All of those are great energy sources for birds.
Okay, so make sure to keep our feeders filled throughout the winter.
Yes.
And then water was the last thing you mentioned.
Water. Yes, and water is important all the time. It's especially important in the winter time because during cold spells, water can freeze up and be unavailable to birds. So it's important to try to have a source out there if we can.
Okay, and we want a clean water source, and we have a fairly dirty one here. So we brought out a brush. Why is it important to keep our bird baths clean?
Well, it's important because the algae and stuff that gets in bird baths isn't necessarily dangerous to birds, but it can retain bird droppings. And then those bird droppings can contain disease that gets passed from one bird to the next. And so I really recommend cleaning out that bird bath every day or two. In the summertime, I clean mine out every day. In the winter, it's every couple of days, just to keep it clean. Water serves two important purposes for birds. One is that they need it just to maintain moisture levels, but also it's important for maintaining feather quality. Birds bathe in order to keep their feathers clean because feathers are important not only in flight, but in insulating the body and keeping in body heat. So it's just important for them to bathe in the winter as it is in the summertime.
So they need a shallow dish or water source for the bathing part.
Yes, exactly right. They prefer something that's between 1 and 3 inches deep. Deeper than 3 really gets out of their comfort zone. And it's something that's kind of rough. I really like cement bird baths. Even though they're heavy, they have a surface with some texture that's easy for birds to grab onto. That a metal pan will work, but it's not ideal because it's harder for a bird to really get a grasp on it.
Okay, we did bring a metal pan out, a simple garbage can lid, right?
Yes. I always talk about with bird baths, anything that's shallow and clean will work. The reason that I use this trash can lid is that it's easy to clean, and then also you can keep it warm with a heater. And I brought along a heater. This is the kind of heater that people can put in poultry. In poultry watering containers. It plugs into an electrical circuit, and you just place the heater out into the water. This has a clamp that you use I'm not going to clamp it on here, but it would just clamp onto the side of the trash can lid. It would also work in that bird bath just as well. We could stick it on here and secure it to the side. And that helps to keep the water from freezing. It'll keep, depending upon the model and depending on the air temperature, it'll keep the water somewhere between 45 and 50 degrees. We're not trying to make a hot tub for the birds, but we just want something that's open.
We don't want it to freeze.
We don't want it to freeze.
If you have a water garden, a little pond in the landscape, if you keep the water flowing, that'll keep the water open for birds.
Yes, and the water gardens are fantastic. Not everybody has one, but if you have one, they're a great magnet for birds as well.
Now you have a special feeder here, or bird bath here.
Yeah, I brought this along. This is actually a heated bird bath. This is kind of a new invention. It has a heating element under the plastic. Simply plug it in. I have this out all the time, and then in the winter time, usually around Thanksgiving, I run a cord out to it. I secure it, wrap it with duct tape or electrical tape so it doesn't get water
Right.
in the connection. And then I leave it on all through the winter, and that keeps that bird bath open. I will say with the heated bird baths, the water tends to evaporate quickly. So I
Okay.
have to go and fill this every morning before I leave for work. It's a daily ritual.
So we want to make sure that we keep that clean and filled for our birds.
Yes.
Anything else we need to consider for winter time, keeping the birds happy in the landscape?
Well, again, having that source of cover, having that reliable source of water, and having that food are the things that we can do.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.